The sky burned orange and red as another explosion shook the ground. Yuna pressed herself against the broken wall and waited for the dust to settle. Her ears were ringing. Her hands were covered in blood that wasn't hers. Somewhere behind her, soldiers were screaming for a medic. She was the medic. Yuna took a deep breath and ran toward the screaming. The mining colony of Nexus 7 had been a peaceful place 3 days ago. Now it was hell. The Vorn raiders had come without warning, and they showed no mercy to anyone. Human peacekeepers had arrived first, but they weren't enough. That's when the Cathari came. Yuna had never seen Cathari warriors before today. She had heard stories about them. Everyone had. They were tall, powerful, and covered in living armor that grew from their own bodies. They were said to be the greatest fighters in the galaxy. Looking at them now, Yuna believed every story. She found the wounded soldier behind a pile of rubble. He was human, young, maybe 20 years old. His leg was badly hurt. Yuna dropped to her knees and opened her medical kit. She worked fast, stopping the bleeding and giving him medicine for the pain. "You'll be okay," she told him. "Transport will come soon." Another explosion. Closer this time. Yuna covered the soldier with her body as rocks and dirt rained down on them. When she looked up, she saw the Vorn coming through the smoke. 3 of them. They were ugly creatures with gray skin and too many eyes. They carried weapons that glowed with sick green light. Yuna reached for her pistol, but she knew it wouldn't be enough. The Vorn were already raising their weapons. Then something moved through the smoke like a ghost. The first Vorn died before it could scream. The second one fired its weapon, but the shot went wild as a blade cut through its chest. The third one tried to run. It didn't get far. Yuna stared at the Cathari warrior standing over the bodies. She was tall, maybe 7 feet, and her body was covered in scales that shined like metal. The scales were her armor, her natural armor, and they were beautiful in a terrible way. She held a long blade in one hand and a plasma gun in the other. Her eyes were golden and sharp like a hawk's eyes. The warrior looked at Yuna. "Human," she said. Her voice was deep and cold. "Take your wounded and go. This area is not safe." "I know it's not safe," Yuna said. She didn't know why she talked back. Maybe she was tired, maybe she was angry. "I'm trying to save lives here." The warrior stared at her for a long moment. Then she turned and walked back into the smoke and fire. Yuna helped the young soldier to the transport zone. She saved 2 more humans and 1 Cathari with a minor wound on the way. The Cathari soldier seemed surprised that she helped him. "You are kind," he said, like he wasn't sure what the word meant. "I'm a medic," Yuna said. "It's my job." The battle went on for hours. Yuna lost count of how many people she helped. Her kit was almost empty. Her body was exhausted. But she kept going because that's what medics did. Near the end, she heard the sound of heavy weapons fire from the east side of the colony. She ran toward it because that's where the screaming was coming from. What she found there stopped her cold. The Cathari warrior from before. The one with golden eyes was fighting alone against a whole squad of Vorn. She was incredible. She moved like water, like wind, killing enemies with every step. But there were too many of them, and they had brought something big, a pulse cannon, military grade. The cannon fired. The blast hit the Cathari warrior directly in the chest. The sound was terrible, like thunder and breaking glass. The warrior flew backward and hit the ground hard. She didn't get up. The Vorn moved in to finish her. Yuna didn't think. She just moved. She ran across the open ground, firing her pistol at the Vorn. She wasn't a good shot, but she was good enough to make them stop and look at her. That gave the other soldiers time to arrive and push the Vorn back. Yuna reached the fallen warrior and dropped to her knees. What she saw made her stomach turn. The pulse cannon had cracked the warrior's armor. The beautiful scales were broken and falling away, and beneath them was soft, pale skin. Purple blood was flowing from wounds underneath. The warrior's eyes opened. They were filled with pain and something else. Fear No, something worse. Shame. Don't, the warrior whispered. Her voice was weak. Don't look at me. I'm a medic, Yuna said. I have to look. I have to help you. No, you don't understand. My armor, you cannot see beneath it. It is forbidden. It is... You're dying, Yuna said flatly. She was already pulling out her emergency sealant. I don't care about forbidden. I care about keeping you alive. The warrior tried to push her away, but she was too weak. Yuna worked fast. She sealed the wounds, stopped the bleeding, and injected medicine to fight infection. The whole time, she could feel the warrior's eyes on her. Those golden eyes were filled with emotions Yuna couldn't name. When she finished, Yuna sat back on her heels. You'll live, she said. Transport is coming. The warrior said nothing. She just stared at Yuna with that strange, intense look. Around them, the battle was ending. The Vorn were retreating. The colony was saved. Yuna helped the other medics load the warrior onto a transport ship. She learned the warrior's name from another Kethari soldier, Velra. Her name was Velra, and she was one of the most famous warriors in the Kethari military. She had never been defeated in battle. Until today. As the transport lifted off, Yuna saw Velra watching her through the window. The warrior's face was unreadable, but her eyes never looked away. Not until the ship disappeared into the sky. Taiho, Yuna's friend and fellow crew member, found her sitting alone after the battle. He was an engineer, good with machines and better with people. He sat down next to her and offered her water. You saved a lot of lives today, he said. That's the job, Yuna said. I heard you saved that Kethari warrior, the famous one, Velra. Yuna nodded slowly. She was still thinking about those golden eyes, about the shame and fear she had seen in them, about the way Velra had begged her not to look. I think I did something wrong, Yuna said quietly. I think I hurt her somehow. Not her body. Something else. Taiho frowned. What do you mean? Yuna shook her head. She didn't know how to explain it. She didn't understand it herself. All she knew was that when she closed her eyes, she could still see Velra's face. That beautiful, terrible, broken face. And she knew, somehow, that this wasn't over. 2 days passed on the horizon's edge. The ship was big, built for long missions and large crews. Humans and Kethari worked together on this ship, though they mostly kept to their own areas. The alliance between their species was new and still fragile. People were polite but distant. Yuna spent those 2 days working in the medical bay. There were many wounded from the battle at Nexus 7. She treated humans and Kethari alike, and she tried not to think about Velra. She failed at that last part. The Kethari warrior was also on the ship. Yuna knew this because she had checked the patient records. Velra was recovering in a private room on the Kethari side of the medical bay. Her wounds were healing fast. Kethari healed faster than humans, but she had not come out of her room, not once. And she had refused to see Yuna. 3 times Yuna had requested permission to check on her patient. 3 times, the answer was no. Velra did not want to see the human medic. Velra did not want to see anyone. She's embarrassed, one of the Kethari nurses told Yuna. The nurse's name was Doran, and he was friendlier than most Kethari. You must understand, her armor was broken. You saw her flesh. This is very difficult for her. I was saving her life, Yuna said. I didn't mean to disrespect her. Doran made a sound that might have been a sigh. I know, but intention does not change the act. In our culture, the flesh beneath the armor is sacred. It is the true self. We show it only to those we trust completely. Family, life mates. To have a stranger see it. He shook his head. It is a deep shame. Yuna felt sick. She had only wanted to help. She didn't know she was doing something so wrong. She found Taiho in the engineering section during his break. He was eating noodles and reading something on his tablet. When he saw her face, he put both down. "What's wrong?" he asked. Yuna told him everything. The armor, the flesh beneath, the shame, the way Velra wouldn't see her, the way the other Cathari looked at her now with strange expressions she couldn't read. Taiho listened carefully. When she finished, he picked up his tablet and started searching. "Give me an hour," he said. "I'll find out more." It took him 3 hours, but he found what they needed. He came to Yuna's quarters that night with his tablet full of information. "Okay," he said, sitting down across from her. "It's worse than you thought, but also maybe better. I don't know. Just listen." Yuna listened. The Cathari bio-armor wasn't just protection, it was part of their soul, part of their identity. When a Cathari showed their flesh to someone, it created a connection, not just emotional, actual, psychic. The two people would feel each other's emotions. They would know each other's hearts. This was why Cathari only showed their flesh to people they loved and trusted, because after that, they would be connected forever. There was no going back. "So Velra and I are connected now?" Yuna asked. Her voice was small. "Maybe," Taiho said. "The texts say it depends on many things. How much flesh was exposed, how long the other person looked, whether the connection was accepted or rejected." He paused. "There's something else. In Cathari tradition, if someone saves your life and sees your flesh, you owe them a life debt. Your life belongs to them until the debt is paid." Yuna put her head in her hands. "I turned her into my slave? Is that what you're telling me?" No, it's not like that. It's more like, she owes you great service. She must help you in a time of need. Then the debt is cleared." Taiho hesitated. "But combined with the other thing, the connection thing, I think that's why she won't see you. She doesn't know what you are to her now. A master? A bondmate? Something else?" Yuna stood up. "I need to talk to someone. Someone who can explain this properly. Someone who can help me fix it." She went to find Commander Doran. Doran was the highest-ranking Cathari officer on the horizon's edge. He was old for a warrior, with gray in his scales and scars on his armor. His eyes were dark and thoughtful. He agreed to meet with Yuna in his office. "So," he said after she explained why she had come, "you wish to apologize. You wish to release Velra from her debt." "Yes," Yuna said. "I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted to save her life. I don't want her to feel shame or obligation because of me." Doran studied her for a long moment. His expression was strange. Was that surprise? Respect? Yuna couldn't tell. "Most species would not care," he said finally. "They would not even think about what they had done. But you came here to apologize. You came here to set her free." He made a low sound in his throat. "Humans are strange creatures." "Can you help me?" Yuna asked. "Can you tell me what to do?" Doran leaned back in his chair. "The life debt cannot be canceled by words. It must be paid through action. As for the other matter, the connection..." He paused. "That depends on Velra. If she rejects the bond, it will fade with time. If she accepts it..." He didn't finish the sentence. "What if she accepts it?" Yuna asked. Doran looked at her with something like pity. "Then you will be part of each other. Forever. Every emotion she feels, you will feel. Every thought that moves her heart, you will know." He tilted his head. "Is that something you want, human?" Yuna didn't know how to answer that. She left Doran's office with more questions than answers. She thought about going to Velra's room, demanding to be let in, forcing the warrior to talk to her. But that felt wrong. Velra had the right to her privacy. She had the right to her shame. Yuna had already taken so much from her. So she waited, and she worked. And she tried not to think about golden eyes and broken armor and the soft, pale skin beneath. The next morning, everything changed. A message came from command. A new mission, important, dangerous, a strike against the Vorn command ship, the heart of their fleet. If they could destroy it, the war would turn in their favor. Una read the mission details and felt her stomach drop. The infiltration team had been chosen. Taiho was on it because they needed an engineer. 3 Cathari soldiers were on it because they needed fighters, and Una was on it because they needed a medic. The team leader was Velra. Una stared at the name for a long time. She wondered if this was fate or chance or something else entirely. She wondered if Velra had requested her or tried to refuse her. She wondered what would happen when they saw each other again. She got her answer that afternoon at the mission briefing. Velra walked into the room like a queen. Her armor was fully healed, shining and perfect. Her golden eyes swept across the assembled team. When they landed on Una, they stopped. For just a moment, something flickered in those eyes. Then it was gone, and Velra's face was a mask of cold professionalism. "This mission will be difficult," Velra said. Her voice was steady. "Many of us may die. If you are not prepared for that, leave now." Nobody left. Velra nodded. "Good. Then let us begin." She didn't look at Una again for the rest of the briefing. She spoke to Una only once to confirm her medical supplies. Her voice was flat and distant, but Una noticed something. When Velra turned away, her hands were shaking. Just a little. Just enough to see. The mighty warrior was afraid. And Una knew with sudden certainty that Velra wasn't afraid of the Vorn. She wasn't afraid of the mission. She was afraid of Una. She was afraid of what Una had seen, what Una now knew, what Una might become to her. That fear was something Una understood, because she felt it too. The mission launched in 6 hours. 6 hours until they went into the belly of the beast. 6 hours until Una and Velra would fight side by side, their lives in each other's hands. 6 hours until everything changed again. The Vorn command ship was massive. It hung in space like a dark moon, covered in weapons and armor. Looking at it through the window of their small shuttle, Una felt very small and very mortal. "That's what we're attacking?" Taiho whispered beside her. His face was pale. "That thing could destroy a planet. That's why we must destroy it first," Velra said. She stood at the front of the shuttle, checking her weapons. She had 2 plasma guns and 3 blades of different sizes. She moved like she was born for war. "We enter through the waste disposal system. We move to the reactor core. We plant explosives. We leave." "Simple," one of the Cathari soldiers said. His name was Keth, and he had a scar across his face. "Simple does not mean easy," Velra said. "Stay alert, trust your training, and do not die." The shuttle approached the command ship in silence, hidden by stealth technology that Taiho had improved himself. They docked at the waste disposal port without being detected. So far, so good. Inside, the ship smelled like death and oil. The corridors were dark and hot. Strange sounds echoed from far away. Screams, maybe, or machines. Una didn't want to know. Velra led them through the ship with confidence. She had studied the layout for days. She knew every turn, every door, every possible danger. The team followed her in tight formation, weapons ready. They met their first Vorn patrol after 10 minutes. 4 enemies with guns and armor. Velra killed 2 before they could raise their weapons. Keth and the other Cathari soldiers killed the rest. It was over in seconds. No alarms, no noise. They moved on. Una stayed in the middle of the group, where medics belonged. She carried her medical kit and a pistol. She hoped she wouldn't need to use either. She tried not to look at Velra's back, at the armor that had been broken, at the flesh she had seen beneath. She tried not to think about golden eyes and life debts and psychic bonds. She failed at all of it. The second patrol was bigger. 8 Vorn in a wide corridor. This time there was noise, gunfire and shouts and the smell of burning flesh. Yuna pressed against the wall and watched the Kethari warriors work. They were beautiful and terrible, like storms made of muscle and blade. Velra was the most beautiful of all. She flowed through the enemies like water through rocks. Every movement was perfect. Every strike was death. Yuna couldn't look away. When it was over, Velra turned and caught Yuna staring. For a moment, their eyes met. Something passed between them, something electric and strange. Then Velra looked away and signaled the team to move. They were halfway to the reactor when everything went wrong. The ambush came from everywhere. Vorn soldiers poured from side passages and ceiling vents, dozens of them. Too many. The team was surrounded in seconds. "Fall back!" Velra shouted. "Go! Now!" They ran. Keth took a shot to the shoulder but kept moving. Taiho grabbed his arm and helped him along. The other two Cathari soldiers covered the retreat, firing at anything that moved. Yuna ran beside them, her heart pounding in her ears. A blast door slammed down in front of them, then another one behind. They were trapped in a corridor with enemies closing in from both sides. "Taiho!" Velra shouted. "Get that door open!" Taiho was already working on the control panel. His fingers flew across the buttons and wires. "I need time!" "Then we give you time," Velra said. She turned to face the Vorn coming from behind them. "Hold this position, whatever it takes." The fight was brutal. Yuna crouched behind a support column and fired her pistol at any Vorn that got too close. She hit some. She missed others. It didn't matter. There were too many. One of the Cathari soldiers went down. Then another. Keth was fighting with one arm, his other arm hanging useless at his side. Velra was everywhere at once, a whirlwind of death, but even she couldn't hold them all back. A Vorn soldier broke through and charged at Taiho. Yuna shot it in the head. Her hands were shaking. She had never killed anything before today. Now she had killed 5. "Almost there," Taiho shouted. 10 more seconds." They didn't have 10 seconds. The Vorn were pushing harder now. Velra was taking hits. Yuna could see cracks forming in her armor, small ones, but growing. The pulse weapons were doing their work. The door slid open. "Go!" Velra ordered. "Everyone through! Now!" They ran through the door, Keth and Taiho and Yuna. But Velra didn't follow. She stood in the doorway, holding back the Vorn, buying them time to escape. "Velra!" Yuna screamed. "Come on!" "Close the door," Velra said. Her voice was calm. "Complete the mission. I'm not leaving you. That is not your choice, human. Close the door. That is an order." Yuna didn't think. She grabbed Velra's arm and pulled with all her strength. Velra was surprised, off balance. She stumbled backward through the doorway. Taiho hit the controls. The door slammed shut just as the Vorn reached it. For a moment there was silence, just the sound of heavy breathing and the pounding of fists on the sealed door. Then Velra turned on Yuna with fury in her golden eyes. "You disobeyed my order," she said. Her voice was low and dangerous. "I told you to leave me. And I told you I'm a medic," Yuna shot back. "I don't leave people behind. Not ever." They stared at each other. The air between them was thick with anger and something else, something neither of them wanted to name. Keth coughed. "We need to move. They'll find another way around." He was right. They moved, but they didn't get far. The Vorn knew the ship better than they did. Another ambush. More gunfire. More running. Keth went down and didn't get up. Taiho took a hit to the leg and couldn't run anymore. "Go," he told Yuna. "You and Velra, finish the mission. I'll hide here." "I won't. You will," he said firmly. He pushed his tablet into her hands. "The reactor codes are in here. You need them to set the explosives. Go, Yuna. Don't let this be for nothing." Yuna looked at Velra. The warrior's face was grim. "He's right. We must go." They went. The two of them ran through the dark corridors alone. Behind them, they heard Taiho firing his pistol at the Vorn, buying them time, maybe dying for them. Yuna blinked back tears and kept running. They found a maintenance tunnel and crawled inside. It was small and dark and hot, perfect for hiding. They stopped there to catch their breath and check their wounds. Velra was hurt, badly. Her armor had cracked in a dozen places. Purple blood seeped through the gaps. Yuna reached for her medical kit. "Don't," Velra said. Her voice was tired. "Don't look at me." "We've been through this," Yuna said. "I'm a medic. I have to. You don't understand." Velra grabbed Yuna's wrist. Her grip was strong despite her wounds. "When you saw me before, it created something. A bond. I have felt you since that day. Your emotions, your heart, it is overwhelming." Yuna stared at her. "You felt me. All this time?" "Yes, your kindness, your fear, your stubborn compassion." Velra's voice broke slightly. "I have tried to push it away. I have tried to reject the bond, but it only grows stronger. And now, if you see me again, if you look at me again—" She stopped. She couldn't finish. "What?" Yuna asked softly. "What happens?" Velra looked at her with those golden eyes, and Yuna saw everything there, the fear, the loneliness, the longing for connection. And beneath it all, something warm and desperate and very much afraid. "Then I won't be able to let you go," Velra whispered. "Ever." The Vorn were coming. Yuna could hear them in the corridor outside. They had minutes, maybe less. She looked at Velra's broken armor, at the wounds beneath, at the choice in front of her. "Then see me," Yuna said, "all of me, and help me end this." She took Velra's hand and placed it over her own heart. She let Velra feel everything, her fear, her determination, her stubborn human refusal to give up on anyone. And then she looked at Velra, really looked, at the flesh beneath the armor, at the true self hidden underneath. The bond snapped into place like a key in a lock. Yuna gasped. Suddenly she could feel Velra's emotions flooding into her, pride, pain, loneliness, and something else, something fierce and protective and impossibly tender. Velra felt it too. Her eyes went wide. Her hand tightened on Yuna's. "Yuna," she breathed. It was the first time she had said Yuna's name. The Vorn broke through the tunnel entrance. Velra stood. Her armor was crumbling, her body was wounded, but her eyes were blazing with new fire. She drew her blades. "Stay behind me," she told Yuna. But it wasn't an order anymore. It was a promise. And together, they turned to face the enemy. The bond changed everything. Yuna could feel Velra's intentions before she moved. She knew where the warrior would strike, where she would turn, where she needed cover. And Velra could feel Yuna's thoughts, her tactical mind working through problems, finding solutions that a warrior would never see. They fought as one. The Vorn in the tunnel didn't stand a chance. Velra cut through them with deadly precision, while Yuna called out warnings and positions. When Velra's blade missed, Yuna's pistol didn't. When a Vorn tried to flank them, they both moved at the same moment, covering each other without words. It was like dancing. It was like breathing. It was like nothing either of them had ever felt before. When the last Vorn fell, Velra turned to look at Yuna. Her golden eyes were bright with wonder. "How did you know?" she asked. "How did you know to move like that?" "I felt you," Yuna said simply. "I knew what you needed." Velra nodded slowly. "Yes, I felt you too. Your mind works differently than mine. You see paths I don't see, options I would never consider." She paused. "Is this what humans are like? Is this how you think?" "I don't know," Yuna admitted. "I've never been inside another human's head." They looked at each other for a moment. Then, despite everything, Velra laughed. It was a small laugh, surprised and genuine. "We are bonded for eternity, and you make jokes." "I'm human," Yuna said. "It's what we do." They moved on toward the reactor core. The bond made everything easier and harder at the same time. Easier because they worked together perfectly. Harder because Yuna could feel Velra's pain with every step. The warrior's wounds were serious. She was losing blood. Her body was failing. "We need to stop," Yuna said. "Let me treat your wounds." "No time," Velra said. "We're close to the reactor. We finish the mission first. You'll die before we get there." "Then I die." Velra's voice was flat. "The mission matters more than one life." Yuna grabbed her arm and forced her to stop. "Not to me. Your life matters to me." Velra stared at her. Through the bond, Yuna felt the warrior's surprise, her disbelief, her longing to believe that someone could care about her that much. "Please," Yuna said softly, "let me help you. That's all I've ever wanted to do." Velra was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. They found a small room off the main corridor. It looked like a storage closet, dark and empty. Velra sat down against the wall, and Yuna knelt beside her with her medical kit. The wounds were bad. Yuna worked quickly, sealing cuts and injecting medicine. She tried not to look at the exposed flesh more than she had to, but she could feel Velra's emotions through the bond. Embarrassment, vulnerability, and beneath it all, a strange kind of peace. "You are different from other humans," Velra said quietly as Yuna worked. "How so?" "The humans I've met before were loud, aggressive. They wanted to prove themselves. They wanted respect." Velra paused. "You don't want any of that. You just want to help." "Maybe that's my way of proving myself," Yuna said. Velra considered this. "Perhaps, but I don't think so. I think you help because you cannot imagine doing anything else, because leaving someone in pain is impossible for you." She looked at Yuna with those golden eyes. "That is a strength I do not have." "Everyone has different strengths," Yuna said. "That's why we work together." She finished treating the worst wounds and sat back. "That's the best I can do. You'll live, but you need real medical care soon." "After the mission," Velra said. She stood up, testing her body. She moved better now. The pain was less. "Let's finish this." They reached the reactor core 10 minutes later. It was huge, a sphere of energy and metal that hummed with power. Pipes and cables ran from it in every direction, feeding energy to the rest of the ship. Destroy this, and the whole command ship would die. Yuna pulled out Taiho's tablet and found the explosive codes. She handed them to Velra, who began placing charges around the reactor. The work was careful and precise. One mistake and they would blow themselves up instead of the ship. While Velra worked, Yuna kept watch. She felt nervous. This was too easy. Where were the Vorn? Why wasn't anyone guarding the reactor? She got her answer when the doors burst open. Vorn soldiers poured into the room, dozens of them. And behind them came something worse. A Vorn commander, huge and armored, carrying a weapon that glowed with green fire. "Humans and Cathari," the commander said. Its voice was like rocks grinding together. "You came to destroy my ship. Instead, you will die here." Velra stood between Yuna and the Vorn. Her blades were in her hands. "Get behind the reactor," she told Yuna through the bond. "Finish setting the charges. I'll hold them. You can't fight all of them alone. I don't need to win. I just need to give you time." Yuna felt Velra's determination through the bond, her willingness to die, her peace with that choice. "No. We do this together," Yuna said. "Or not at all." She moved to stand beside Velra. She raised her pistol. It was almost out of ammunition, but that didn't matter. She wasn't going to hide while Velra died for her. Velra looked at her. Through the bond, Yuna felt the warrior's emotions shift. Surprise became admiration. Admiration became something deeper. "Together, then," Velra said. The Vorn attacked. What followed was the hardest fight of Yuna's life. The Vorn came in waves, endless and hungry. Velra fought like a demon, her blades singing through the air. Yuna fired and reloaded, until her pistol clicked empty. She picked up a fallen Vorn weapon and kept shooting. Through the bond, she and Velra moved as one. They covered each other, warned each other, saved each other. 12 times, one of them should have died. 12 times, the other prevented it. But they were losing. There were too many Vorn, and they were too few. Velra's wounds were opening again. Yuna's hands were shaking with exhaustion. The Vorn commander stepped forward. "Enough games," it said. It raised its weapon and pointed it at Velra. "Die now!" It fired. Yuna moved without thinking. She threw herself in front of Velra, pushing the warrior aside. The green fire hit her instead. Pain. More pain than she had ever felt. Yuna fell to the ground, her body screaming. She couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. Through the bond, she felt Velra's horror, her rage, her desperate fear. "Yuna!" Velra went berserk. She charged the commander with a scream of pure fury. Her blades moved faster than Yuna had ever seen. The commander tried to fight back, but it was too slow. Velra cut it apart in seconds. Then she turned on the remaining Vorn. They ran. Velra let them go. She dropped to her knees beside Yuna, gathering the human in her arms. "No," she said. Her voice was breaking. "No, no, no, don't do this, don't leave me." "The mission," Yuna whispered. Her voice was weak. "Finish the mission." "I don't care about the mission." "I do." Yuna reached up and touched Velra's face. "I didn't come all this way to fail. Set the charges, blow the reactor, save everyone." Velra was crying. Actual tears. Running down her face, Yuna didn't know Cathari could cry. "I won't leave you," Velra said. "Then take me with you." Yuna tried to smile. "But hurry." Velra set the charges. Her hands were shaking, but she did it right. She programmed the detonator and picked Yuna up in her arms. "The detonator has a 10-minute timer," she said. "We need to reach the shuttle bay." "Then run," Yuna said. Velra ran. Through the corridors of the dying ship, past Vorn, who were too confused to stop them, toward the shuttle bay where they had entered. Yuna drifted in and out of consciousness. She felt Velra's emotions through the bond, fear and hope, and desperate love. Love. Yes, that's what it was. Yuna recognized it now. They reached the shuttle bay. A small ship was waiting there, left behind by the Vorn crew. Velra carried Yuna inside and put her down gently on a bed in the back. "Stay with me," she ordered. "That's a command." "I thought I don't take your orders," Yuna murmured. Velra almost smiled. Almost. "Consider it a request." She flew the ship out of the command vessel just as the explosives detonated. Behind them, the reactor core exploded. Then the whole ship exploded. A ball of fire and debris spreading out through space. The Vorn command ship was destroyed. Mission complete. Yuna closed her eyes and let the darkness take her. She woke up in the medical bay of the horizon's edge. Everything hurt. She was wrapped in bandages and connected to machines. But she was alive. Velra was sitting beside her bed. The warrior looked exhausted, her armor dull and cracked, but her golden eyes were open and watching and full of light. "You're awake," Velra said softly. "How long?" Yuna asked. 2 days. The doctors weren't sure you would survive." Velra's voice trembled slightly. "I told them they didn't know humans very well." Yuna smiled weakly. "What about the others? Taiho? Keth?" "Both alive. Recovered by rescue teams. They're healing." Velra hesitated. "You saved everyone, Yuna. The command ship is gone. The Vorn fleet is retreating. The war is turning." "We saved everyone," Yuna corrected. "Together." Velra nodded slowly. She reached out and took Yuna's hand. Her grip was gentle, careful of the injuries. "I felt you die," she said quietly. "In that moment when the weapon hit you, I felt your life fading. It was the worst thing I have ever experienced." She looked at Yuna with those golden eyes. "I cannot lose you. I will not lose you. Do you understand?" Yuna understood. She squeezed Velra's hand. "I'm not going anywhere." Velra leaned forward and pressed her forehead against Yuna's. It was a Cathari gesture, Yuna realized. A gesture of deep connection, of commitment, of love. "Good," Velra whispered, "because the High Command wants to speak with us, both of us, about what we did and what we are." She pulled back slightly. "About the future of our peoples." Yuna took a deep breath. The future. She hadn't thought that far ahead. She had just been trying to survive. But now she was alive. They both were, and the future was waiting. "Then I guess we better not keep them waiting," Yuna said. Velra smiled. A real smile, warm and bright. "No," she agreed. "We better not." The Ketheri homeworld was beautiful. Yuna pressed her face to the shuttle window like a child seeing snow for the first time. Below her, mountains rose from purple oceans. Cities of crystal and metal caught the light of 3 suns. Forests of trees with silver leaves stretched to every horizon. "It's amazing," she breathed. Beside her, Velra watched her with soft eyes. Through their bond, Yuna could feel the warrior's happiness, her pride in her homeworld, her joy at sharing it with Yuna. "Wait until you see the capital," Velra said. "It's even better." 3 months had passed since the destruction of the Vorn command ship. In that time, everything had changed. The war was ending. The Vorn fleet was broken, and the alliance between humans and Cathari was stronger than ever before. But there was more to discuss, bigger questions to answer. That's why Yuna and Velra were here. The Cathari Grand Council had summoned them, not as soldiers or medics, but as something new, something that had never existed before, a bonded pair of human and Cathari. The shuttle landed in the capital city. Guards in shining armor escorted them through streets of white stone. Cathari citizens stopped to stare. Some pointed, some whispered. Yuna heard fragments of their conversations through the bond as Velra translated. "Is that the human? The one who saved Velra? They say she can feel what Velra feels, that they are connected. Impossible. Humans are not capable of such things." Yuna kept her head high and walked beside Velra. Let them stare. Let them whisper. She had faced the Vorn. She could face curious eyes. The Grand Council met in a tower of glass that seemed to touch the sky. Inside, the council chamber was vast and circular, with seats rising in tiers around a central platform. Hundreds of Cathari filled those seats. Old warriors with scarred armor, politicians in robes of office, scientists and artists and leaders of every kind. And at the highest tier sat the High Elder, the oldest and most respected Cathari alive. Her armor was white with age, her eyes deep and knowing. Yuna and Velra stood on the central platform, facing them all. "Velra of House Keth," the High Elder said. Her voice carried through the chamber without effort. "You have served the Cathari people with honor for many years. You are one of our greatest warriors. Your name is known across the stars." "I serve as I was born to serve," Velra said formally. "And now you have bonded with a human." The High Elder's eyes moved to Yuna. "A species we have known for only a short time. A species we considered lesser." Yuna felt anger flicker through the bond from Velra. She sent calm back. This was expected. This was why they were here. "You have reviewed the footage from the Vorn ship," Yuna said. She was surprised by how steady her voice sounded. "You have seen what we did together." "We have seen," the High Elder agreed. "We have seen a human and a Cathari fight as one mind. We have seen a human risk her life for a Cathari warrior. We have seen things we did not believe possible. She leaned forward. What we have not seen is an explanation. Yuna looked at Velra. Through the bond, they decided together who would speak. When Yuna saved my life, Velra said, she saw my flesh. She saw my true self. In that moment, a bond began to form between us. I tried to reject it. I was ashamed and afraid. But Yuna did not give up on me. She accepted the bond willingly, knowing what it would mean. And what does it mean? The High Elder asked. What are you now? Velra was quiet for a moment. Through the bond, Yuna felt her searching for the right words. We are partners, Velra said finally. Not master and servant, not life debtor and life owed, partners, equals. Her thoughts are my thoughts. Her heart is my heart. Where she goes, I go. What she feels, I feel. And you? The High Elder looked at Yuna. What do you say, human? Yuna thought carefully before answering. This was the moment that mattered, not just for her and Velra, but for all humans everywhere. I say that humans are not lesser than anyone, she said. We are different. We are young compared to your species. We don't have bio-armor or psychic bonds or thousands of years of history, but we have other things. What things? The High Elder asked. Stubbornness, Yuna said. We never give up even when we should. Adaptability. We change to meet any challenge. And emotion. She paused. We feel everything. Fear, anger, love, hope. We feel it all the time, and we don't break. We use it. We let it make us stronger. She thought of the battle on the Vorn ship, of carrying Taiho's weight, of throwing herself in front of Velra, of fighting through pain that should have killed her. When Velra and I bonded, Yuna continued, she felt my emotions for the first time. She said it was overwhelming. She said she didn't understand how I could function with so much feeling inside me. Yuna looked at the council with steady eyes. I told her the truth. I function because of the feeling, because I care so much about the people around me that I can't stop fighting for them, because giving up would mean letting them down. The chamber was silent. Every Cathari was watching her. That is humanity's strength, Yuna said. That is what we bring to this alliance, not ships or weapons or advanced technology. We bring heart, we bring will, we bring the stubborn, stupid refusal to accept that anything is impossible. She felt Velra's pride glowing through the bond. It gave her courage to finish. You called us lesser, Yuna said, but I saved one of your greatest warriors. I formed a bond that your people said no outsider could form. I helped destroy a ship that threatened your whole civilization. She lifted her chin. I am not lesser. Humans are not lesser. We are different. And different can be strong. The silence stretched for a long moment. Then the High Elder spoke. I have lived for 400 years, she said. I have seen many species rise and fall. Most come to us with demands. They want technology, resources, military support. They want to take from us. Her old eyes studied Yuna. You came here and asked for nothing. You risked your life for a Kethari warrior without thought of reward. And now you stand before the Grand Council and ask only for respect. She rose from her seat. All the other council members rose with her. The Kethari do not give respect easily, the High Elder said. We earn it and expect others to earn it from us. You have earned it, Yuna of humanity. She looked at Velra. And you, Velra of House Keth, have shown us something new, a bond between our species. A partnership that makes both sides stronger. She raised her hand. Let it be recorded. From this day forward, humanity is no longer considered a junior species in the Alliance. They are full partners, full equals. Let their representatives sit on our councils. Let their soldiers fight beside our warriors. Let their people be welcome in our homes. The chamber erupted in noise. Some Cathari shouted approval. Others protested, but the High Elder's word was law. It was done. Yuna felt tears in her eyes. She didn't try to hide them. Through the bond, she felt Velra's joy mixing with her own. They had done it. Together. Later, after the ceremony and the meetings and the endless questions, Yuna and Velra walked alone through the capital. The three suns were setting, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple. The streets were quieter now. Peaceful. You know, Velra said, in the old days what we have would make us family. When two Cathari bonded, they became sisters in spirit. They shared everything, their homes, their lives, their futures. And now? Yuna asked. Velra stopped walking. She turned to face Yuna, and her golden eyes were soft and serious. Now we are something new, she said. Human and Cathari, different species, different worlds, different everything. The old words don't fit us anymore. She reached out and took Yuna's hands. So, we make new words. We decide what we are. Yuna looked at their joined hands. Velra's were larger, stronger, covered in scales that gleamed in the sunset. Her own were small and soft and very human, different in every way, but they fit together perfectly. I know what I want us to be, Yuna said quietly. So do I, Velra said. I have known since you pulled me through that door on the Vorn ship, since you refused to let me die alone. She squeezed Yuna's hands. I want us to be together. Whatever that means, whatever that looks like, for as long as we both live. Yuna smiled. She felt Velra's love through the bond, warm and strong and absolutely certain. She felt her own love flowing back, just as strong. Then that's what we are, she said. Together. Velra smiled back. That rare, beautiful smile that Yuna loved so much. They turned and walked on through the alien city, hand in hand. The suns set behind them. Stars appeared above them. Somewhere out in space, the rest of the galaxy was waiting. New challenges, new battles, new chances to prove that humans were more than anyone expected. But for now, in this moment, there was just the two of them. The bashful warrior and the stubborn medic, different in every way and perfect for each other. Whatever came next, they would face it together, and together they were unstoppable.